All right, it looks like we're at the hour. So good morning or good afternoon or good evening, I guess, depending on where you're located. I'd like to welcome everyone to this webinar. My name is Q Mangus. I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at GWAVA. And we're really excited for this topic on Exchange and Office 365. So today we're going to be talking about email management, email migration, and archiving. The first two, which the email management and migration, is going to be all about CodeTwo, and we're really excited for them to be here today. Then at the very end, at the tail end, we'll have some time for a little bit about Retain Unified Archiving by GWAVA, and then we'll have time for Q&A as well. So I'd like to introduce everyone to Paul Sidorko from CodeTwo. He will be the presenter for the first part of this, and let me get him on the line and switch him over to presenter. Give me just one moment here.
Yes, of course. Hello, Q. I'm here. My name is Paul. I'm a technical sales specialist with CodeTwo. I'd like to say I'm also happy to be here and say hello to everyone who's attending the webinar. Now, I hope you can see my screen correctly. I got the privilege to start with the webinar, unless Q would like to also add anything else to the introduction.
No, go right ahead, Paul. We'll turn it over to you, and yes, we can see your screen just great.
Thank you. Okay, so basically, as Q said, we'll start with the CodeTwo solution. I'll just briefly show you the essentials of what we offer in terms of email management, email migrations, and just a little bit info on the backup solution that we offer as well. So let's get going. So this is the agenda for today. We'll start with some general information on CodeTwo company before the presentation of the software. I'll briefly discuss flagship products, and then we'll go to details regarding our migration software, backup, and email signatures for Exchange. Then I'll briefly present the essentials of those solutions over a live demo, and then we'll switch back to Q with Exchange and Office 365, archiving, and Retain. At the end, we'll have a Q&A session as well, so we'll be free to all ask your questions, which we gladly answer. Okay, just a few words about the company itself. During the 8 years of experience we've got it, we're able to have 15 commercial programs which are used by over 45,000 companies all over the world. We've been rewarded with certificates, and some magazines, IT magazines, not only have been mentioning our name, but what's the most important to us is the customer satisfaction, which, as you can see here in the graphs, 95%. I would say is quite a good result. Just to give you a little bit more detail on this, which companies are using our software, please take a look at the logos. I think you'll recognize most of them. We've got Shell company using our Outlook data synchronization on their old tankers. We've got migration software that was helping Facebook integrating their newly acquired startups to their email system, and also UNICEF working with our management of email flow and content signatures. So basically, it's this to show you we've been there and we've been producing software that's commonly used. Okay, let's talk about the flagship products. So I'd like to mention 4 of them. The first one goes to Exchange Rules Pro. It's a tool for centrally managing email signatures, disclaimers, banners, but also the entire email flow that goes around your Exchange Server 2013, 10, and 7. Next one we also have on our list is the shorter version of the previous solution, Exchange Rules and CodeTwo email signatures, which basically concentrate around managing signatures for Exchange Server and Office 365, also Google Apps and hosted platforms. Another one that we'd like to present today is our migration software, both for Exchange platforms and Office 365. Basically, it allows for a very easy, virtually seamless migrations between Exchange versions, especially cross-forest migration without double hop procedure. Also very simple migration from Exchange environment to Office 365. And last but not least, the CodeTwo backup, which allows a very easy to manage centrally backup and restore solutions for Office 365 and Exchange Server. So these 4 solutions we are proud to present to our customers. Let's briefly concentrate on on the products, and in a moment I'll show you how they work over a live demo. We'll start with Code to Exchange migration software. This does work on Exchange and Office 365 platforms. What it allows to do is, as you can see in the graphics here, public folder structure and content replication. So in an environment when there's a quite advanced public folder structures, lots of public folders, subfolders. With this software, you will be able to migrate and recreate the entire structure from your source environment, let's say Exchange 2003, 7, 10, to a newer version of Exchange or Office 365. Another feature the program will allow is streamlined Exchange upgrades and cross-forest mailbox migrations, especially for cross-forest mailbox migration was the idea of presenting and producing this software. With this, you are able to skip the double hop migration where you had to go with Exchange 2010 in the middle if you wanted to switch from 2003 Exchange to 13. With this software, we can do it directly, cross-forest migration from 2003 to Exchange 2013. Additional features the program offers: migration scheduler, filters, and folder type selection. What basically it allows is it's a good news for the administrators. You don't have to run the migration over the weekend. You can just schedule it basically anytime during the week, even working hours, and basically this works just fine thanks to these additional items of, for example, schedulers and item age filters. And what we also offer is uninterrupted service availability. So basically what I was saying before, you do not have to go and schedule migration outside the working hours. Employees, users working on their desktop computers will basically not even notice that something's happening, something's migrating, everything's done in the backend without any interruptions to the everyday task of your employees. So basically, this migration software, to sum up, was developed or is offered to our customers to allow very simple, very easy, and uninterrupted migration process between Exchange versions and from Exchange to Office 365. So let's switch to our backup solution, a fairly recent product that we started offering some time ago to meet the requirements of basically local backup and local recovery option for your Exchange, and also, as you can see here, Office 365 environment. What the program, in short, allows you to do is to automatically and very easily create local backups of the content, the email content you've got in your Office 365 and also on-premise Exchange mailboxes. You can manage this, the backup process and the restore process through a very simple and intuitive GUI installed as a standalone application for administrators to process. You can also have a granular recovery of those items that you backed up, so in case anything is missing, anything's been deleted by accident, with this software you can recover it even to the level of individual email or contact. Additional feature the program can also offer, which I'll try to show you as well over a live demo, a continuous backup, so one-time backup. So it means that you can have the program back up the contents all the time, or just create a one-time backup and just save it for the purpose, for example, of legal compliance or disaster recovery. So basically, if you have to meet the standards of e-Discovery Act, for example, you'll be fully covered with the solution. So basically, these are the most important information or points regarding the backup software. With the backup solution that we offer, you'll be able to centrally manage your backups and restore in case of any situation, any disaster recovery, for example. Let's go now to next solution we offer for Exchange. Exchange Rules Pro. This is the program that allows to manage email flow within your organization. So basically, as you can see here in the slide, you're equipped with the administration panel that allows to create, for example, signatures, banners, also create additional email rules for your Exchange server emails. And thanks to the services running on Exchange servers, and as you can see in the slide here, the program is able to filter your emails and, as one of the sample actions, insert signatures. So next slide shows you how it works. The program consists of two elements. It's a service that technically is running on Exchange server and stamping your emails with the signatures, like the one you can see here in the in the slide. And the second module actually is the administration panel, which allows managing the rules for adding signatures, which allows editing your signatures, but also offers additional features. As you can see in the short list, for example, it allows creating autoresponders for the entire company, allows managing your attachments to make sure that the emails you send and receive aren't too heavy for the bandwidth, forwarding messages. All those actions actually can be managed centrally from one location or a number of locations, and that depends on your requirements for the entire company. And in a moment I'll try to show you these three solutions, so the migration, the backup, and signature software over a live demo. So let me just switch to my lab for a second real quick, and we'll go on. I'm sure if you have any questions, we'll be able to answer them in the Q&A session. Okay, so as I was saying, just to show the essentials, we'll start with the migration software. This console here allows to connect to the environment you would like to migrate from and to. So basically, what we have here is a desktop computer connected to Exchange 2003 machine, and as you can see, there are some sample users we would like to migrate to the Exchange 2013 environment, which is here. So thanks to this console, we can have access to those source mailboxes, source users, as we call them. The program is able to list, of course, first of all, connecting to the 2003 source environment. It's using MAPI protocol to do that. It'll be able to list existing mailboxes. Of course, you'll need to configure additional steps. For example, the program can read out from multiple domains. You can set up additional time filters, which may determine the type of migration you want to do. So, for example, you may want to migrate all the content at the same time, or you may simply switch migration into two halves. First process will migrate only the recent content, for example, covering the last month, and then you can switch the users to the new environment, to the Exchange, let's say 2013, or also Office 365 environment. And then when they're working in the new Exchange servers, you can just remigrate the older content. So these additional options allow you to manage or configure the type of migration you want to perform. Additional folder filters, so you can select which folders can be migrated. So basically, these options here, they allow you to list and determine the type of migration you have. Now, basically, what we have so far is mailboxes from the source domain. So this is 2003 Exchange. Let's say the task is here to migrate them to 2013 server. So what we'll have to do actually is, thanks to two-way trust, we can auto-match let's call them old mailboxes from 2003 server to the new ones from 2013. Let's do this real quick. The program will scan for existing mailboxes. It will match those mailboxes. You can have a short summary. As we can see, there are two mailboxes not matched. This matching is based on the first name, last name pattern, so probably there's some name confusion, but it's very simple to add those missing mailboxes. So we have administrator's account, and we can also migrate very easily all the public folders, right, with recreating the content and the structure of those folders to the new environment. So we'll just select public folders. So basically, I'm all done. I'm all set with the preparing of this migration. Let me just add that to connect to target servers, you will only need to have the administrator's account and the two-way trust between two domains in case of Exchange migration. In case of Office 365 migration, you only need to point the administrator's account of a given tenant, and the program will do it automatically. Of course, this has been set up before, so let me just show you how the migration process works. As I was saying, we're all set. We can just start the migration process right now. I'll just hit the start button. You will see the program starts working. It'll show the items discovered in the source mailboxes. It'll be migrating them to target environment. At the top of the toolbar, we can find additional options, reporting options, or additional settings that will allow you to prepare the migration. You can find the scheduler, which I mentioned before. So you can, we'll have to wait till it stops, so we'll just stop it for a sec. You can find additional scheduler options that allow you to schedule the migration process within the required time frame. You can create a overall report for the migration that shows you the basic statistics you want to know about the speed, the status of the migration process. You can have individual reports for a given mailbox. So if you highlight the mailbox, we can just create a report for this mailbox showing actually the items that were processed or migrated in the process of migration here, and we can just save them as CSV as well. So anyway, these additional reporting options give you a possibility to know what exactly is happening within the migration process. So if I can just resume the migration, the program will continue in the same place, the same condition it was stopped. And using this rescan, these rescan features here, we can actually have delta migration that will update the status of your items between Exchange servers or between Exchange and Office 365. So basically, this console here, it allows you to connect to both environments, the one you want to migrate from and the target environment, either Exchange and Office 365, and you can just have the content of mailboxes migrated in a very simple way to the target environment. And this has been used, as I stated previously, among other companies. For example, Facebook was using this solution to migrate the newly acquired startups to their system, and we've got different universities, for example, using this console to move or migrate the content from old to new system. So basically, that's what it's all about in terms of migration. If you have any questions, let's just save them for the Q&A. Let's take a look at the backup. The next software we had was a backup solution. So let's just quickly see what's happening in the backup right now. Okay, so we're staying here the same environment. We have the Exchange 2013 and we have the backup console. Okay, let's go to dashboard. So the main job of this software here, the backup solution, is obviously to create a backup of your mailboxes content of your Office 365 tenants. But the program can also connect to Exchange environments and save offline backups. So let's just take a quick look of how it works. So the program is based on jobs. Each job is responsible for different backup or restore process. But not only, the program can also archive your storages and import them to PST or relay them to, let's say, network location. I'll briefly discuss it in a moment. The program will also show you in the storage section the locations that were used to store the content backed up from your tenant, Office 365 tenant, for example. And we can take a look at let's say, some folders here, sample folders. We've got the backup storage folder and Exchange backup folder. These were locations for saving the backup content. And last tab we've got is a backup showing the actual progress of what's being backed up at the very moment. So if we take a look at the jobs section, we've got backup jobs running all the time, and they are connecting to Exchange and Office 365 environment, backing up the content to local folders, and you can view the content here. So actually, if you can take a look, you can even go as deep as to individual item and then restore them back. Okay, first things first, let's take a look at the backup jobs. Let me just stop this here. So basically, to start the backup, we need to create a new backup job. We need to name it any way you want, so let's just go with this. And of course, these are some options, additional options we want to set up to make sure that the backup or restore or any other given process the program supports is properly configured. So we need to add some additional options, features. We can make sure that the backup will be running all the time, a continuous backup here, or we can have a one-time backup and just save the content to offline of a given mailbox. So let's just select continuous backup, and we can tell the program to run the backup in different time ranges, either daily, weekly, monthly. So the program will be connecting to the given tenant or given environment to make sure that, let's say, once a week a backup is done to ensure the safety of your data. And I think the most important step here is to point what you want to backup. So here we need to connect either to Office 365 location, as you can see here, or the Exchange location. So let's just open this quickly. In case of backing up the Office 365 mailbox content, you need to simply connect to the given tenant using the administrator's password, and it will be listed. All the mailboxes will be listed here. Let me show you. So if you connect into our test domain CodeTwo and Microsoft through the administrator's account, the program will be listing the mailboxes from your given tenant, and you can just select one mailbox, multiple mailboxes, or all mailboxes to be backed up. If we want to go with Aaron mailbox, this is the one that basically we usually present. You can also have one mailbox, one user's account backed up by the software. So let's just do this. Next step, we're almost done, is to point where you want to keep the backed up content. So currently in this version, we give offline backup to local storage. You can also relay this storage to a shared location, a shared network, or network folder, just in case of saving space on your local drives. So I'll select backup storage folder. I believe it's here somewhere. Let me check. Okay. So all the content will be backed up locally, and additional features of selecting how you want the items to be backed up. You can back them up all, or you can back some newer items, or just recent items, or older items. That depends on the scenario you wanna have for your organization. These are folders here that sometimes they do not need to be backed up because they don't present any, let's say, highly valuable content like deleted items. We may select that they're not backed up in the process. So we just basically done. The program will be showing the summary of what we set up, and we can just run with the backup job. Let's just run it. Okay, and it's should be connecting to a server right now. Resuming in a moment to start talking to the server and just getting the content done. These jobs listed here, they've been already working. We can enable them as well to back up. For example, here if we just added this one goes to Exchange environment, so both environments are supported here. Okay, so to sum up, this console gives you a possibility to connect to the required environment, Office 365 or Exchange, and point to specific mailboxes, all mailboxes, depending on your environment, depending on the requirements, and back them up locally. So in case of any crisis, any issues, you can recover the items very quickly. And how to do the recovery is very simple. If you want to recover a folder here, or a mailbox, or an item, we can just go to backups, and we can see all the backups here in the listed as mailboxes. So I'll just right-click on the mailbox, or I want to right-click on a folder because I want to restore it, or I can right-click to right-click given item to restore it, and then similar process appears a wizard that will ask me which folders I want to restore, where I want to put it to. So we can restore the folder to the original location or to different locations. So for example, we can have your Office 365 content backed up and then restored to Exchange, or the opposite, Exchange backed up locally and then restored to Office 365. So let me select the original location here. Okay, we've got some restore options. How do we want to restore the content in terms of duplicates or different versions? Because as I was telling you before, the program is running continuously. It's saving different versions of an item. If an item changes, the program will keep different versions of the same item, so you can just recover a specific version from a point in time. So this is also possible here, and basically we can just start restoring content from offline backup to specified location. So, and we have an error, but probably there's something with the settings. I wouldn't worry about this too much. Okay, additional features we've got. We can also archive storages. We can import storages and save to PST. So let's say you've got some storage saved in the backup storage folders here. You can save them as a PST file and hook up to an Outlook. The process will go through the same wizard. It will ask you which storage you want to save. So we're pointing to the folders that keep our local backup. We want to select a folder, a mailbox in this case, to be transferred or converted to PST. We want to have a folder to have a PST file in, and the program will, with additional options, right? Scheduler, you can save it, of course, with a password, so it's protected, and the program will just archive storage to PST. Let me just run it, and we should have a folder in a moment that will point. Give me a sec here to the PST file. Okay, so this entire mailbox that was processed here as individual items as a mailbox now can be saved as a PST file, which then can be hooked up to let's say an Outlook, or just to be stored as a PST file for archiving reasons. So basically, to sum up with the backup solution, this console, this program allows you to back up the content of your Office 365 Exchange mailboxes as well, locally, and then recover them or transfer them to PSTs, or in case of any emergency, any issue you would like to restore items quickly, you can have it with this software. Okay, and so that's it for the backup. Let's just switch to the last but not least, Exchange with Pro, managing signatures and generally email flow. So as I was explaining before in the slides, this program consists of two modules. The one is the console, and this console here can be installed basically on any location, any desktop computer in the company, in terms of company's Exchange server organization. And thanks to this console, you can just manage your signatures. You can create signatures, but you can also manage the entire email flow. You can create autoresponders. You can manage your attachments. You can forward messages, block messages, scan them for content. So I'd like to show it to you in a moment. Let's concentrate on signal. Okay, let's just talk about the second module. This is the console. As I was showing before, it can be installed basically on any desktop computer in the company. But technically, the program is stamping signatures through a service, and it's running in the background as a transport agent. And this transport agent connected to the service is responsible for scanning the emails and just making sure the signature is attached to your email sent internally or externally. So let's just see quickly how it works. If I have this console right now, I am able to create a rule. The program works based on the rules for, let's say, adding signatures. So let's just try to use this right now. Okay, so each rule is working on conditions and actions, right? So you need to tell the program which action it will do in terms of what you expect the program to do with your emails. So let's say we would like to insert a signature, and well, it's good to define the signature, right? And we'll do this in a moment, but also you'll need to tell the program when this actual signature can be applied to the emails, and you do it through the conditions field here, the conditions tab. Well, the program will be scanning your emails, looking at who's sending, who's receiving. The program can check the content and the subject of the email. The program can check the direction if the emails goes out or the emails go internally to the company. The program can be checking also types of emails, so we can have, let's say, different signatures for new emails sent out to customers and shorter versions for reply emails. The program also works with attachments. You can control the attachments, the employees, the users attached to the emails. And last but not least, the program also processes secure messages and digitally signed messages as well. Okay, let's just make a simple scenario. I want to have a signature for every internal email, so every user, every sender that's residing in your Exchange server, so every employee will have a signature. So this is the simple condition. Okay, now the program's asking me to create this template. So let's make a signature right now. I'll just edit this, and we open an editor, basically looking more or less as a regular editor, allowing to play with the fonts, play with the paragraphs, pictures, tables. So through this editor, you can actually create a signature. What's cool about it is that it can go to your Active Directory. So if I select the placeholder option here, and I'll go to method sender. It'll show me the exact AD attributes that I want to use for my signature. So let's say I want to have my first name to appear in the signature. I want to have, of course, my last name. I'd like to add, let's say, title that I have in the company. So it's here, and everything's pulling up from Active Directory. So it's probably you can imagine these fields, these placeholders will be updated with the actual data of a user. So I'll just add a department, and I'll just add let's say company name. Of course, you can add a number of different information, phone numbers. You can use Exchange attributes. You can add your own AD attributes not covered in the list here. We can also have an image, a logo, company logo. So I'll just click on picture here, and I've got a window to select. I want to have. That's too big. Let's just make it smaller. Okay. We can also add social links. So all these Facebook, Google+, Instagrams are already there. You just need to select Facebook profile, add it to match the company name here, and that's it. All set. Well, this signature doesn't look very well. I'm not really an expert in creating actual email signature layout, so let's do something else. Let's just not save it. I'll go with the template. So just to show you what kind of signatures you can have with the software, starting with those informative personal signatures presenting the actual sentence data, right? You can have the simpler version of those signatures, so based on text only, but still conveying the most important information. You can go with banners, you can go with all types of social media icons, but also what's cool about it is you can show it to marketing people. You can have those campaigns, as we call them, where actually only this here is the email, and all these additional information, all this here is added by CodeTwo software. So we can build around your email with the marketing information, with banners in the software. So this is just example to show you. Okay, so let's just take one here. Something nicer. Okay, we can go with this. Okay, so I'll have this template right now, and I want to use it for my email. So, and as the program stamps your signatures when they go through Exchange server, it's not relevant which email client you will use. So let's just go to OWA. The program will append signature to mobile devices, different Outlook, different email clients, Outlook, Mac, computers are supported as well. So just one last email here. Okay, as you can see, we don't have the signature right now. This is the fact that these signatures are stamped to your emails when the emails go through Exchange, but we have a workaround for this. I'll show you in a moment. Let's just make sure it does work here. Okay. So I'll send it to the same account. It should be here in a moment, and the program offers additional options. One of these is actually send items update. So I cannot see the signature when I'm typing new email as a user, but I can see it in my sent folders after the email is sent. So the program will talk back to my mailbox and will update the sent email with the signature. If we're talking about additional options, one really cool feature will be access rights. So basically, you can, as I was saying before, the console can be applied, can be installed on any desktop computer, but you want to be sure that no other users than selected can work with the signature. So you can just add either a team of people or a person here to work with the signatures and assign permissions. So only these two units, so the user here and the marketing team, can create, edit, view, delete signatures. Nobody else can do it. So if anyone else will install this console, they will see no signatures at all because of the access rights here. Okay. Okay, one last thing before we go on. Signature template is ready. Okay, let's check. Okay, so let's wait for this to arrive, and in the meantime, we can take a look at other actions the program can do for you. So next to signatures, we've got attachment control, so we can add attachments automatically, or you can remove them and save them to a shared location from this console. You can auto-respond, and if we take a look at sales autoresponder, we can enable an autoresponder to your emails going into, for example, selected users. So someone sends an email to your sales team from outside, the program can trigger autoresponder. You can also remove sensitive content and make sure that no sensitive information is going out of the company. And if we select this feature here, this action here, you can make sure that, let's say, if someone is sending a credit card number outside of the company, they will not do it because the program will mask this, or they remove this series of digits that is a credit card number. And also you can notify a person about the fact that someone wanted to send out sensitive information. So here what we are looking at is DLP content actually. So next to signatures, we've got a number of messages. You can block messages. You can make sure that all emails are sent in the same email format and with the same composition. So for example, no one is applying individual themes or stationery to your emails. So this is the entire complete email flow manager, including signatures for your company. Okay, yeah, so I guess that's what I wanted to show in terms of the live demo. If you have any questions, I'm available, and of course Q will also help us with questions in the Q&A session. And I think that's all from me now. I'll pass the controls to Q, and Q will continue with retained software. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Paul. Great information. Thanks, everyone, for submitting questions. We do have a few, and yes, we will have a Q&A session at the very end. So stick around, and we'll get those questions answered. So I'm going to move into a section of the presentation now about the solution that GWAVA provides for archiving. So we've talked a lot about migration. We talked about backup. We talked about those signatures. Great solutions from CodeTwo, and hope you can all see the value of that. Yeah, would encourage you to get more information. At the end, we'll have some information on how you can get more information about these solutions and about Retain itself. So let's just jump right into Retain. So Retain is a unified archiving solution. And what we mean by that, and what makes it different than other archiving solutions, is that it archives all electronic communication. So there are other archiving solutions out there, as you're well aware of, that may only archive email, or may only archive social, or may only archive mobile. And this can create a problem for you, one, because you may need to implement multiple solutions to be able to archive all of your electronic communication, or it can create silos of data where you're having to go to different solutions to be able to access all your data. With Retain, it is different because all of these electronic communications are archived into one central archive. And that archive can be searched. You can perform e-discovery off of that archive. And there's powerful exporting tools. And there's a few other things that I'll get into in just a moment here. But just to begin with, we've talked a lot about Exchange and Office 365 solutions. And Retain supports Exchange and Office 365. And you can actually run multiple instances, so multiple platforms. It supports multiple platforms is what I'm trying to say. So if you're running Exchange and Office 365, you can archive both of those into one central archive. And then if you have other email platforms as well, Retain supports Gmail and GroupWise. So if you have other solutions that are other email systems that are in your organization, Retain can archive all that type of email. And then, of course, we take it a step further, where if you have social media, if you have employees that are accessing social media at work, Retain has the ability to monitor, filter, and block social media depending on your needs. So if you have employees that are accessing, let's say, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Yammer at work, Retain will allow you to monitor their communications and block and filter what they're saying. So if you have things that are, let's say it's sensitive information, proprietary information, or you want to prevent them from communicating inappropriate information, Retain allows you to implement policies to prevent your employees from posting things that are against those policies. And then, of course, that information is also archived in the Retain archive, in the same central archive that the email is archived. And this also works for instant messaging. So if you have Google Hangouts, Link, or Skype for Business, Yahoo IM or AOL IM, if you're using any of those, let's take Skype for Business, for example. If you have Skype for Business in your organization and your employees are communicating using that, Retain will archive that. And then you can go back and search. And all the messages are archived in context, so you can be able to see the message thread. So you'll be able to see if I'm instant messaging with another person in the organization, or if there's a group chat, we'll be able to see that in Retain and be able to search that. And what's great as well is that those communications are also monitored and filtered with Retain. And another step that Retain does is with web searches. As your employees are using Wikipedia, Yahoo, Bing, Google, or YouTube, as they search in those using those search engines, they will be able to what they're searching is monitored and filtered, and then it's also archived. It's not archiving what they've gone to, but it's archiving what they've searched. So once again, giving you a layer of protection to be able to ensure that your employees are not doing things that they shouldn't be, and you can have proof of that. And finally, the last piece of Retain that's really that we've found a lot of traction with and a lot of organizations enjoy is this mobile archiving. So what we've done is for Android and BlackBerry specifically, for Android we archive SMS, MMS, and phone call logs. And for BlackBerry we archive the same thing, MMS, SMS, text messages, phone call logs, as well as BBM messages and PIN. And so as your employees are using their Android devices or using a BlackBerry, Retain will be able to archive all of those messages. And then you'll have oversight of what your employees are communicating. Finally, with iOS, we've done something innovative. So if you have, this is very important for employees that are using iPhones, iPads in your organization. Maybe it's even a BYOD situation. Retain can archive communications from those devices, and how it does it is it's not done natively through iMessaging. It's actually done through a separate app. We've partnered with a company called CellTrust, and what we do with CellTrust is they have created a separate mobile business app that assigns a separate phone number to the device, and now communications done through that app are encrypted and secure. So now your employees can use that app for mobile business communications, whether they want to text or call. It gives them a separate number just for business communication, and then Retain can archive those kind of communication. So that's Retain. Those are the supported platforms, and like I said, it's all archived into one central location. Specifically for Office 365 and Exchange, we talked about some of these things already, but you have the multi-platform and mixed platform environment support, the mobile, the social media, the instant messaging, the web search. Some other great things are there's complete e-discovery that's included in Retain. So you have the ability to place litigation holds, tag messages, export messages, redact and strike out these messages, perform quick and easy searches of the archive. So that's all included with Retain. And I'll touch a little bit more on the search tool in just a moment. Next, one other great thing is I talked about the export. So you can do a search, and then you can export that to a PDF or a PST, or what we like to call the standalone archive viewer. And what's great with the standalone archive viewer is it's actually a portable, you can actually put it on portable media like a DVD or a jump drive and hand that off to a legal or other outside team, and it's fully indexed. So now they can, without going to the full archive, an outside team can have that subset, they can search through that, and they can perform strikeout and redaction from that standalone archive viewer. So now you have the ability to grant or to give outside teams, legal administrators, access to a set of the archive without allowing them to access the entire archive. So if you if that's a situation that you're in where you don't want auditors to access your entire archive, you can quickly and easily do that through this standalone archive viewer. And then on the flip side, if you do want to grant rights to, say, a legal team or other auditor, there's an access control list, so you can grant those rights. The other great thing is your users have access to their own personal archive. So so when your users need to be able to find an email to restore that, or be able to search their archive to find information, it's quick and easy to do that, and they have access to that. Some other things here, you have it supports single instance storage, so the size of your archive is going to go down. And what we've seen with a lot of organizations is that as they archive their messages, they can take those off of their Exchange or Office 365 server, which now reduces the size of their storage footprint, and it's going to make their system run better. So we've actually seen that because they're not bogging down the email system with messages on that server. So let's move on. I've talked about the email archiving piece and the social piece and the mobile piece. Here is an example of the archive viewer. This is the web archive viewer. As you can see, the folder structure is replicated over, so it looks like an email client. So when your users go to that, it will look familiar to them. They can easily browse. And then here you can see at the top are the different actions that an that an administrator can do. And end users will have different abilities depending on what you grant them. So an administrator or other named user has the ability to place litigation holds on these messages, and so they can, from this browse, you can easily select them and place a hold. You can place them as a confidential tag. You can place other tags. You can forward these messages. You can export them, as we talked about, and you can restore and print. What's great too is that you could grant your users the ability to restore their own messages. So now a user can go into their mailbox, into their archive, see a message that needs to go back to their live inbox, and they can quickly and easily do that themselves. And this is huge for organizations that get a lot of these requests, which I would imagine most of us do, for their users that they will request to IT to restore a message to their live mailbox. Well, with Retain and granting them rights on their own, the users won't have to be bothering IT, and they can do that on their own. And then here's an example of the unified archive. As I stated, this is unique to Retain because all messages and communication is archived into one central archive. So if you do a search, it's going to bring back all results from all types of communication. So in this example, you can see there's some Twitter messages, some Facebook posts, some email messages, and some SMS messages. So, and you can see other types that can come across. So what's great is that as you do a search, everything comes into one central archive and one central search. Another thing that's been a more recent addition to Retain is this, we like to call it the advanced search tool. As a user or an administrator wants to search, Retain is actually going to give you suggestions. It's a Google-like or an Amazon-type search. So as a user or an administrator starts to type, let's say in this one they start to type test, that will give them suggestions of email addresses, subject, body. It will find things in the archive to suggest, so it'll make your searches that much easier. And then also the search terms are highlighted in the archive so you can quickly see the results, and it'll actually reduce false positives and give you a much easier time of searching. Other things that you'll see here is you can see the scope. You'll be able to see like how many are in the subject, how many are recipients, and then you can change. On that last screen you could see, I'll go back there, you can actually specify which messages you're looking for. So if you know that it's just a text message, you could specify that. So we've made searching really easy for you to be able to access that entire archive from one central location. And that is really what makes Retain different, is to be able to have that one central archive for all of your electronic communication. Another thing that we've done is there is an Outlook plugin, so your users don't have to go to the web access viewer. They can actually access it directly from Outlook, and they just see a little icon that says retain, or it would say archive, and they can do a search right from there, and do a quick search right from Outlook to find a quick message, or they can do an advanced search, and then they can also browse the archive directly from Outlook. And what's great too is that messages are cached. So if you have users that are on the road, that are offline on occasion, they can cache their archive in Outlook and be able to view that when they're offline. So that's a quick overview of Retain. We did have just a few minutes to go over that, but just be aware once again that it is the archive of all electronic communication. You have the ability to view all of your electronic communication from one central archive. You have search tools to be able to gain quick business insights into your data and access that data in a nearline fashion where you can quickly and easily get back to that data and view the overall health and status of your organization. So that's it for Retain. If there are questions, it looks like there's a few. So I'm going to answer the one that is for Retain to begin with, and then we'll turn the time back to Paul to answer the ones about Code2. So the first one is GWAVA able to archive Skype for Business, link online, hosted at Office 365? To date, I have not seen any provider that is able to do that. Yes, we are able to do that. It's really a cool thing, that Skype for Business. What it does is, I didn't go into detail on this, but what it does is we actually intercept the information as it goes across the firewall. So as your employees are communicating using Skype for Business, as that communication goes through the firewall, whether even if that's internal, it still has to go through there, right? So it's going through the firewall. We have it's called the Retain Social Compliance Proxy. So the data it goes, as those messages are pushed out, they go to the firewall through the compliance proxy. From there, Retain Compliance Proxy can monitor that communication, it can filter it, and then it can archive that. So yes, we are able to do that for Skype for Business. And then of course these other solutions, these other instant message solutions and social media. Great question. So let's get some to Paul really quick. I'm going to throw up the next slide, which is the Contact Us slide. So Paul, looks like there's a few here. So the first one is, I have Exchange Rules Pro for 2010 with 50 licenses, of which only one is in use. I requested additional server licenses as this has to run on 3 CAS servers, but every month. 2 of the servers become unlicensed. I have to reply to the license. Is there a fix? So if you need that as well, Paul, that's in the Q&A.
Yeah, I also, thank you. I also checked it a moment ago. So it's from Francis Revere. I just want to say that, if you don't mind, we'll of course there is a fix for this. We're able to do this real easy way. If you don't mind, as this is more of a support question, I will answer this directly after the webinar. So I just want to say to Francis Revere that we have a fix for this, and we will provide it as soon as possible.
Awesome. Great. That's perfect. Next we have a few. How is the link between Exchange environments configured?
Okay, so from James Kiang, if I pronounced correctly. Okay, so basically, as I was saying before, the services, well, the program has 2 modules, the panel, which allows you to manage all those signatures, and there's the service that's running directly on Exchange with the transport role. So these services are self-aware. So if you install the first one, it's looking for the same service within the organization. If the same service is found, then these services and transport agent, they communicate automatically and constantly, checking for updates. So basically, if you set up a signature, automatically spreads all your services running on Exchange, all your Exchange servers. So if you go, let's say, 4 Exchange servers, 1 console, you set up signature, the signature is directly forwarded to all those, well, technically to first service, and then the first service contacts the others. If you want specific technical details, I will need to send it to you via email, because there will be a lot of tech talk. But to sum up, these services are self-aware, communicate instantly between each other in the Exchange organization.
Perfect. The next one is, will it work between two hosted environments, say Smars Silversky Intermedia to Office 365?
So again, from James, not sure which solution is James asking about. Not sure, to be honest, how to answer this question. I assume this is for exchange migration software. I would
James,
need to have them.
Yeah, James, if you could clarify that for us, we'll come back to that. Next we have is how does Code2 connect to Office 365 mailboxes to apply a signature?
Okay, that's a good question. We actually right now we're using this service that's running on Exchange on-premise. We took it out of the software and we implemented to our new software for Office 365 signatures, which basically is running on as an Azure service, and well, technically it's working similarly. So we have another application, another service that's responsible only for Office 365 signatures. Right now it's in the beta stage. We've got it sent to quite a big number of beta testers, and they are testing the solution right now. The idea is very similar. The email goes through Azure service. Our service stamps a signature, then it's sent back to the original organization, and only then it's sent to the recipient. So it's running next to Office 365, applies signatures, sends it back to your tenant, and then sends it to the recipient of the email. So to sum up, different separate product based on the same the mail processing mechanism. So that was from Mr. Zauberlich. I'll be happy to send a link to beta version to Mr. Zauberlich.
Perfect. And then looks like we have time for a couple more questions. It looks like we can come back to James really quick. He said the question was for Exchange migration, and it says, do they need VPNs or have to be part of the same domain for those hosted environments?
Sure. Okay, James. Thank you. So basically, this software is working with Exchange to Exchange and Exchange to Office 365 scenarios. So these environments are supported. Now let me just scroll back a bit. Smart Silversky Intermedia to Office 365. As I was saying, works for Exchange to Office 365. They don't need any VPNs. You just connect to a given Office 365 tenant using the administrator's account. That's all you need. But it will transfer or migrate the content only from Exchange mailboxes to Office 365. I don't know if that answered the question.
Perfect. Next we have one about migration again. Is will user-created subfolders import as they were set up, or will it reintegrate them into the main inbox? And he's specifically talking Exchange 2007 to Office 365.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm just looking at this question right now. Subfolders, well, if a user creates a subfolder in their Outlook connected to 2007, the entire structure is transferred to the target environment. So all the additional subfolders, they will be migrated as well. So the structure is transferred to the target environment, in this case to Office 365. Same goes for public folders, same goes for mailboxes. So yes, the question is, subfolders will be imported, will be transferred directly as they appear in the source environment.
Perfect. And it looks like we have one more question, and then looks like we're out of time. So it's the last one is, I have Exchange Rules Pro for 2007. When I migrate to Office 365, will I have to buy a separate signature program, or is there an upgrade option?
Well, we will have an upgrade option. I cannot give you any details right now because this is still, the new software is in the beta stage. We do have upgrade option with the current solution we offer for Office 365. We also have upgrade option. The same will go for the new beta software. I will be happy to send more information after we wrap up the beta program, because then we also have more feedback from beta testers. So the answer is definitely we will have an upgrade option, but I cannot give you any additional details at this stage.
Perfect. All right, that looks like all the questions we have for now. Paul, thank you for the information and for your time and for very very good information that you presented. And thanks everyone for being on this webinar and for your interest. This webinar has been recorded, so you will receive an email with the recording link, and please look for that. Also, there's contact information for Code2 there on the screen, so please reach out to them if you have further questions. And then also, if you'd like to reach out to us at GWAVA, please visit us at guava.com. Thanks again, Paul, and thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you as well. Thank you for your time.